Hello and welcome, I'm Staś Butler, and here's what happened this week. It's Ghost Month in Taiwan, a time when people pay tribute to the dead. And in the northern port city of Keelung, it's also a chance to reflect on a little bit of history that not many people still remember. Yujing Huang has the story.
All dressed up and ready to remember the dead. It's Ghost Month here in Taiwan, and there are some unusual spirits walking around this community center. Attendees are dressed as people from the Sino-French War, a conflict that happened more than a century ago. All the main characters are here, such as then-governor of Taiwan, Liu Mingchuan, French Admiral Amédée Courbet and his soldiers, and Empress Dowager Cixi, who ruled China in the late 19th century. It's not the first time people here have remembered the war, but this year they've really gone all out to get into character.
这次是由我的意思而造的，所以说我就很喜欢。对，我觉得我喜欢，大家一定会喜欢。
今年好像比较帅。
Participants are marching to the nearby Sino-French War Memorial Park to hold a Pudu ritual. It's a traditional Ghost Month rite held for the spirits of those who died without family nearby. But to understand why there's a historical site for the war in Taiwan, we need to go back around 150 years in the past. At that time, France was waging a bloody campaign to colonize Vietnam, which was then a protectorate of China's Qing dynasty. War broke out in Vietnam and several cities in China.
But part of that war also took place right here in Keelung. It was here that 700 French soldiers fought and died in battle with Qing forces. Their gravesite has stood here since then. It wasn't until 2003 that local residents began holding the Pudu service for their spirits.
These are some common offerings that you'll see during Ghost Month in Taiwan. But for the French soldiers, locals prepared something more fit to their appetite: baguettes and wine. The addition of this French fare was the idea of a former village chief.
你也高温也贵，就是讲法国遐外国人，伊就吃袂到，大家已经在这边这个地方已经那么久了，所以我们这附近的居民就大家自筹来祭拜他们。
This tradition has also become an event in the diplomatic calendar. The head of the de facto French embassy in Taiwan is here. Florent Pagui only started as the country's representative earlier this month. It's his first trip outside of Taipei since he arrived.
It's also a way for me to pay tribute to the work which has been done by the local authorities to take care of this memory. And this is a common memory today between France and Taiwan.
War here has long since become a distant memory. What remains is a shared sense of history, a desire for peace, and a respect for those who died far away from home. Kamashi and Yujing Huang for TaiwanPlus.
Now, the southern city of Kaohsiung is offering a tasty incentive to get people to give blood. Local officials are giving a free lobster to people who donate. 2 of them, if people give enough. 200 lobsters in total are up for grabs, with other freebies on offer when those run out. Kaohsiung is running low on blood supplies, with less than a week's worth for most blood types. Taiwan often has blood shortages. Critics say donation rules are too restrictive, with limits based on age, sexual orientation and frequency of donations. Now, in a fishing town in southern Taiwan, hundreds of Indonesian fishermen were out over the weekend to belatedly celebrate their country's Independence Day. It's a special occasion for those who are working far from home. Many of them haven't been able to return to Indonesia in years. Yujing Huang also has this story.
An emotional scene in Pingdong on Sunday, as these Indonesian fishermen stood to sing their country's national anthem. They'd gathered here to celebrate Indonesia's 78th Independence Day. The event was held several days after the official date of August 17th. But working in Taiwan, the organizers wanted to wait until as many people as possible were free to attend. It was held in the harbor town of Donggang and organized by Taiwan's largest association for foreign fishermen, the Indonesian Seafarers Gathering Forum, also known as FOSBI.
Karena pada dasarnya kita sebagai bangsa Indonesia yaitu bangsa yang merdeka, kita dimanapun juga harus menjadi pekerja migran pun harus merdeka sesuai hak kita juga, dan di luar negeri pun kita juga tetap menjalin persatuan dan kesatuan untuk menyatukan rasa solidaritas gotong royong itu.
This harbor is an important base for both offshore and distant fishery. Between 200 and 400 foreign fishermen live here, and the majority are from Indonesia. Today's celebration is an important one because for most of the people here, it's the closest they'll get to home for several years. FOSB aims to provide a support base to Indonesians who are living and working far from home. Since its formation 16 years ago, the group has gained more than 2,500 members and helps people with problems they might have while working in Taiwan. Social events like the Independence Day celebrations are important for the group, helping people in this profession feel like they are part of a community. Just like back home, there were bands playing Indonesian music for people who want to dance. A number of Indonesian games were played throughout the day, like hitting bags filled with water while wearing blindfolds, or Gigi Coin, where people try and remove coins from watermelons using only their teeth.
Ya, karena kita berada di negeri Taiwan, tentunya rindu dengan kampung halaman di Indonesia. Perasaan sangat senang sekali untuk mengobati kerinduan kita yang jauh di negara Indonesia telah terobati di negara Taiwan.
Ya, tentunya saya juga merasa senang dan bahagia karena nggak di Indonesia saja, di Taiwan pun saya juga bisa merasakan dan merayakan kemerdekaan Indonesia yang ke-78.
Not everyone who showed up for the celebrations works in the fishing industry, though. Pingdong is also home to almost around 7,000 caregivers and 2,000 immigrants from Indonesia. Many of them also stopped by to take part in the fun.
Kami merasa dihargai di Taiwan karena bisa merayakan Hari Kemerdekaan 17 Agustus.
Often described by people back home as foreign exchange heroes. Many migrant workers go abroad to give themselves and their loved ones a better life. The organizers want to echo their government's theme for this year: keep moving forward for an advanced Indonesia. Although living and working hundreds of miles from home, the people here want to show their love and support for both their families and their country. Klein Wang and Yujin Huang for TaiwanPlus.
It's the height of the Pomelo harvesting season, and agriculture officials are finding new ways to help Taiwan's farmers sell their fruit. They've teamed up with convenience store chains to sell cut and peeled pomelos to customers who don't want to do it themselves. The government predicts Taiwan will produce over 70,000 tons of pomelo this year. Some of that's for export, but that market has shrunk since China banned the fruit last year. Officials and farmers have been looking for ways to boost consumption closer to home instead. Taipei has hosted a matchmaking event for sexually diverse singles. The city planned the social in part for Qixi, that's Valentine's Day on the lunar calendar, and this year it landed on this past Tuesday. Philip Brassard was there to witness the chemistry.
It's a clash of the modern and the traditional. An LGBTQ singles matchmaking event taking place in this historic Taipei building. This event for cis and transgender gay men and women starts here at the Taipei Info Hub. It was originally built as a warehouse over 100 years ago, when Taiwan was still a colony of Japan. But today, it's host to local singles looking for love.
期待找到另一半，希望可以找个对象交往，就喜欢交朋友啊，也许可以在这边遇到未来的另一半也有可能。
After an icebreaker game and some food, the atmosphere really starts to build as the group is split into teams for a treasure hunt. The planners hope the activities will help the participants learn more about the city and each other.
有几个还不错，蛮欣赏的，就觉得相处起来蛮舒服的感觉的。
Everyone taking part gets gifts, but the real prize is finding a good match. The participants write down their favorites, and then comes the moment of truth for some lucky couples. But there's no time to be nervous. Their first date starts now. Everyone makes their way to a city tour bus waiting nearby, and all the new matches sit together. Taipei's sexually diverse matchmaking event is coming to a close, but the organizers hope that for some of the participants, the journey is only just beginning. Alex Chun and Philip Broussard for TaiwanPlus.
After a 4-year break because of the pandemic, one of Taipei's biggest jazz parties is back. Yvonne Yang was there to check out what's new in the scene.
Jazz. Since it first emerged in the early 1900s in the deep south of the United States, it's gone on to inspire generations of musicians all over the world. After it took off in the US, the musical style was soon introduced to Taiwan, while the country was under Japanese colonial rule. Later on, the local jazz scene was heavily influenced by America when Taiwan was under martial law, but it wasn't until the end of the martial law era that jazz truly began to flourish here.
Since 2003, Taiwan's National Theater and Concert Hall has been hosting the annual Summer Jazz Festival. It's said to be the country's largest jazz music event. And after a 4-year hiatus, this open-air concert is back on.
Though it was raining when the show kicked off, this didn't dampen the enthusiasm of the fans. Many people sat on the ground wearing raincoats and enjoyed music from Shanna Young and Music Oversized, who performed some Taiwanese folk songs adapted into jazz. As the night drew on and the weather improved, the crowds began to swell. Another act performing was Yunxu Electric 5, who showcased the diversity and possibilities of jazz music by giving it an electronic twist. Jazz pianist Yun Xu shared her insights into the country's growing jazz community.
I went to check out the jazz music like when I was in university. So always like the blue note in Student Row is like always packed. Like it's so difficult to get in. But maybe at the time there was little less jazz venues, probably. But now, of course, there's way more jazz clubs and more people playing. And I would say the audience is still growing.
She says that the influence of jazz has been staggering and in recent years can even be heard in Mandopop music.
More and more people studied abroad and then coming back. So when they encounter those pop singers or like there's, they can influence them. Like the influence is mutual. So of course we can provide some more jazz elements in the pop music. I think nowadays maybe a little more than before.
Jazz is all about improvisation and freedom, two things that complement the culture of Taiwan well. So it's fitting this blend of musical fusion found a home here and has gone on to create its own unique style. Devon Tai and Yvonne Yang for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching Here's What Happened. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we leave you with images of Mount Fuji in Japan. I'm Staś Butler. Take care and see you next week.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus. Be sure to follow us on social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world.